sir, Mikhail said, his eyes twinkling with hidden amusement. I'm sure Lieutenant Carpenter here is ready to. No, Carpenter is a boob, a total boob, Binghamton shouted, momentarily forgetting his illness. He quickly went back to a wheeze. I'm appointing you, Mikhail, and Parker here. He'll be your acting executive officer. Ensign Charles Parker, a man whose bravery was often overshadowed by his tendency to trip over flat surfaces, gasped. Me? Executive officer? Oh, boy, you won't regret this, Captain. I know I won't, Binghamton muttered under his breath as the PT-73 crew exited. Because by sunset, you'll both be in the brig for life. The transition was instantaneous. Within an hour, Mikhail's office was transformed into a chaotic command center. Sinks were still plugged, but the morale was soaring. Chief, we found the garter belts. Parker shouted into a phone. Yes, send them to the nurses' quarters immediately, and tell the CBs to keep their heads down during the rifle range practice. Meanwhile, the crew was busy. They weren't just running a base. They were running a business. A shindig was organized, complete with hula girls, moonshine, and a gambling ring that would have made a Las Vegas pit boss weep with envy. Full speed ahead, Mikhail told his men. If the Admiral wants an inspection, we'll give him one he'll never forget. Chapter 3, The Admiral and the Air Raid Shelter. Admiral Rafferty arrived exactly as expected, smelling of starch and looking for someone to court-martial. He was met by Acting Base Commander Mikhail, who was wearing a layover's uniform, and Ensign Parker, who managed to salute himself in the eye. Welcome to Teratupa, sir, Mikhail said with a grin that could charm the stripes off a zebra. Acting Base Commander Mikhail at your service. What is that thing around your neck, Mikhail? Rafferty barked. An old native custom, sir. Very auspicious. Mikhail lied smoothly. Binghamton, watching from the sickbed in his office, was ready to spring his trap. He knew the crew had hidden a group of hula girls in the air raid shelter to keep them out of sight. Admiral, Binghamton cried out, appearing in his bathrobe. You must go to the air raid shelter. It's disgraceful. There are girls in there. Hula girls. Rafferty's face turned the color of a ripe beet. He marched to the shelter, followed by a smug Binghamton and a sweaty Mikhail. Open it, Rafferty ordered. But the PT-73 crew was faster than a greased lightning bolt. By the time the door swung open, the hula girls had been replaced by a group of sailors holding a fire drill. Fire drill 100% successful, sir, Parker shouted, holding a fire hose that he immediately lost control of, soaking Binghamton from head to toe. Rafferty turned to Binghamton. Captain, have you lost your mind? First you claim to be dying. Then you see hula girls in shelters? You're suffering from combat fatigue. Go back to bed. Binghamton stood there, dripping wet, clutching a single abandoned grass skirt that had snagged on the door. But, they were here. Back to bed, Wally, Rafferty snapped, or I'll have you sent back to the States in a straitjacket. Chapter 4, The Sultan of Marami. Just as the smoke cleared from the Admiral's visit, a new crisis arrived in the form of royalty. The Sultan of Marami and his 3 beautiful daughters were being evacuated due to the threat of a Japanese advance. Binghamton, desperate to regain his standing, saw this as a chance. We must go all out. An impression must be made. Mikhail, you take the Sultan on your boat. I will handle the formal dinner. Mikhail welcomed the Sultan aboard the PT-73. The Sultan, a man of great dignity and an even greater appreciation for fast boats, was instantly enamored. Rather an interesting craft, Commander. If my country had a navy, I would certainly include a fleet of these. Would you like to steer, Your Highness? Mikhail offered. May I? That does sound like a most amusing advertisement, the Sultan replied, while the Sultan practiced his high-speed maneuvers. Ensign Parker was busy getting himself into a different kind of trouble. He had struck up a date with one of the princesses, Siri. The ensuing dinner was a comedy of errors. To cover for various crew members who were sneaking around with the princesses, several sailors, including a very reluctant and hairy Gruber, dressed up in veils and sarongs to dance for the Sultan. Binghamton, suspecting a ruse, lunged at one of the princesses. You phony Balinese bunny, you're under arrest. He ripped off the veil to reveal a very confused, very bearded sailor. The Sultan stood up, his face a mask of royal fury. Captain, your unpardonable behavior will be reported to the State Department. My daughters are insulted. But, I thought he was a princess. Binghamton wailed as the Sultan stormed out. Chapter 5. The Laughing Gas and the Ghost Ship. Binghamton's blood pressure reached a new record when he decided to bring a fitness board to Taratupa to have Ensign Parker removed from the Navy for general incompetence and being a public nuisance. McHale knew he had to act. He knew that Binghamton was allergic to goldenrod and prone to tantrums. But he also knew about the supply of nitrous oxide, laughing gas, at the base dentist's office. If we can get old Lee Bottom in a good mood, McHale whispered to the crew, he'll cancel the board. The crew rigged a tank of laughing gas to the ventilation of Binghamton's office. As the captain sat down to write his report on Parker's incompetence, a sweet, numbing gas filled the room. Within minutes, Binghamton wasn't writing. He was giggling. He was dancing. He was calling Ensign Parker Chucky Wucky and promising him a promotion to Admiral. Oh, Bingvings. Parker laughed, himself caught in the cross-drift of the gas. When the head of the fitness board, Admiral Shoemaker, arrived, he found Binghamton wearing a hula skirt again and playing leapfrog with the crew. Binghamton, what in the name of the Great White Fleet is going on here? Shoemaker roared. Oh, showy. Binghamton giggled, trying to put a lei around the Admiral's neck. You're just in time for the party. Parker is a genius. Give him a medal. Suddenly, a Japanese air raid siren wailed. The gas was still in their systems. Parker, in a fit of hysterical bravery, stumbled to a deck gun. Laughing like a maniac, he fired a single, wildly aimed shot into the sky. By some miracle of physics and sheer luck, the shell struck a Japanese Zero right in the engine. The plane spiraled down in flames. Magnificent! Shoemaker cried, witnessing the feat. A man who stands laughing in the face of death. This fitness board is canceled. Parker is a hero. Binghamton, as the gas wore off, looked at the burning wreckage and then at his own grass skirt. Why me? Why is it always me? Chapter 6. Sidney the Alligator. The legendary Sidney the Alligator incident began when the crew found a friendly reptile in the swamp. They named him Sidney and taught him to appreciate peanut butter sandwiches. Binghamton, meanwhile, had set a trap. He marked $900 in payroll money and left his wallet as bait for the PT-73 crew to steal. But Sidney, motivated by the smell of leather and perhaps a wandering curiosity, found the wallet first. When Binghamton discovered his wallet was missing, he immediately arrested the crew. I've got you. Markings on the bills. You're going to brig for life. But, sir, McHale insisted. An alligator took it. A friendly one named Sidney. An alligator? Do you think I'm a fool? Take them to the court-martial. The trial was a spectacle. Parker, acting as a defense attorney, called Sidney to the stand. The crew hauled the alligator into the courtroom on a flatbed. I object! Binghamton screamed. You can't call an alligator to the stand. Sir, Parker argued, Sidney has the evidence. As if on cue, Sidney opened his mouth and spat out Binghamton's wallet right onto the judge's desk. The judge opened the wallet and found the marked bills, along with a half-eaten peanut butter sandwich. The charges were dropped. But Binghamton was ordered to pay for the cleaning of the courtroom and Sidney's dietary needs for a month. Chapter 7. The Noumea Payroll Heist. The final act of the Taratupa Chronicles took place in the French port of Noumea. The crew was sent to pick up a $62,000 payroll. Parker, entrusted with the bag, was promptly knocked unconscious by a mysterious assailant. When he woke up, the money was gone. All I remember